Hello and welcome to How to Write a Quote and hopefully get more business. A quote, well, this works perfectly well for any sort of proposal or sales presentation, not just a formal quotation. I'm Nick Hickson. I'm a chartered accountant and a certified accountant and business advisor, and I've been working in the south of England for about 30 years now. We've come across various small business issues which are common to quite a lot of businesses and developed some solutions, and we thought we'd just share some of them with you. So let's think now. What's the problem with quotes anyway? Well, I think it's a simple yet fairly common problem. People have to write proposals for other people to read, and which hopefully induces them to buy something. Yet sellers are trapped by their technical vocabulary and do not express themselves sometimes in ways which their potential customers understand. They're usually too terse, use words and phrases which are meaningless to the customers. Also, quotations commonly take a similar form. They quote quantity, delivery, price. Very little else. Something like this. This leaves the potential customer with a dilemma. If he's sensible, you've got alternative quotations which he then wants to compare. How does he do that? Especially if all he has to compare is quantity, delivery and price. What, after all, does the customer know about you and your products? He knows a lot less than you do, certainly not more. And he doesn't know much about you either. So if all his suppliers potentially can produce the right quantity and deliver it in the right time, his only comparator is price. And that's effectively what you are allowing him to choose what he's going to compare your quote on. Effectively what you're doing is allowing your competitor to decide how much business you're going to get, because you're going to be judged on your competitors' prices. It's easy enough to get all the business, just be cheaper. But cheap doesn't always equal profitable, and cheap may not get you the best experience for your customer, so he may not refer you to another customer later on. So your marketing spend in getting one customer is a little bit more expensive than it needs to be. What do customers want? Well, they want to avoid loss and risk. Because your customers, if you produce your quotations in this way, your customer, remember, is risk averse. We're all risk averse. Everyone will see the losses and move away from them more strongly than they'll see any benefits that they wish to move towards. So if the only comparator is price, then it's very easy for your potential customer to see exactly what his loss might be. It's simply the difference between your price and the cheapest price. He doesn't know your area of expertise. He doesn't know how good you are. He may remember a conversation with you, but he might muddle that with the conversation he's had with your competitor. The only tangible things he has to refer to are any literature or website details that he can look at after you've left him, and your quote. The literature and the website will describe in general terms what you can do, whereas he's only interested in the specifics, what you can do for him. Not others, not necessarily what you've done for other people, for certain. So you may have had a very nice, positive conversation with your customer when you went to see him. You may have completely understood what he wants. But if you just show quantity, delivery and price, you're not demonstrating those things, and you're losing an opportunity potentially. So you need to help him. And that's not that difficult. In every discussion with the customer, there's two comfort zones, which is yours and his. You want him to understand you and move into your world. He won't, not without your help. Studies have shown that the most effective way to get your customer to understand you and what you can do for him is for you to go into his world, show that you understand him and where he's coming from, and then you can bring him into your world. It's no use just saying, come on in, the water's lovely. Because he will think your version of lovely and his may well differ. He may dither at the water's edge. You have to show him. You have to go into his world, understand it, show you understand it. Remember, people buy from people they like and trust. People like and trust people like them. So, work you can do before you do the quote. This starts with the first conversation when you meet and discuss your customer's needs, and I'm sure you do this well. I'm sure you keep good records of what you need to do so you can fulfill the customer's brief properly. But I'm going to suggest you do a bit more. In your conversation, I suggest you use his words and reflect them back to him. And I suggest you write them down as well, his words. By doing this, when you come to write your quotation, it will be clear to your customer that you fully understand it. The next thing in your conversation is to fully appreciate how important each aspect is to your customer. Ask questions. They're not difficult. It's simply like, just to be clear, this feature is really important to you. Shows you're taking interest, and you can take a note which you can reflect this back in the quotation and show you're taking the note so that he knows you're taking this seriously. It's not difficult. Why all the fuss? Well, because I can tell I'm working up to a fairly long quotation compared with what you may be used to doing. But remember, the whole point of this is to get more work. What's the point in turning up to see lots of customers, which cost you money to get them anyway, and then going there, spending time and money doing that and getting back to the office and researching the materials and the time that's going to be required to fulfill your customers' orders, writing it down, sending it to your customer only for some competitor to get your work. This is a way of turning more quotations into orders. It improves your conversion rate. So I think it's worth the extra half an hour or hour or so that it might take. Let's just do a little example just so you get some flavour. It's a new garden. It's something we can all relate to, the redesign of our garden, even if you don't have a garden at the moment. You've been in one at some point. You can easily imagine what you might like and what it might look like. Okay? At the moment, the grass is in a terrible condition. There's a large overhanging tree causing a lot of shade. The neighbours can look in from one side. The plants are a bit straggly and overgrown. It's all a bit square and boring. The only time the garden is used is when some maintenance has to be done to it. It's not fun at all. I'm the customer, and I've called you, the landscape gardener, because I'm dissatisfied. The whole process starts with an unfulfilled need. I tell you what I'm dissatisfied with. I can do this quite easily. That's, after all, why I picked up the phone to you. You naturally sympathise. You like gardens. You ask me in detail what I want to use the garden for. I'll probably have a number of uses in my mind. I want low maintenance because I'm lazy. I want to have barbecues, sometimes when the weather's good. I want to be screened from the neighbours because they're a bit noisy. I want to look out onto something which is slightly more interesting than a square of scraggly grass, because that's what I've got now. You'll be thinking through all of this stuff as I go through all these things, and what do I need as a landscape gardener to make this happen? And it may be that I'll have a couple of objectives that create a bit of a clash. So you'll discuss that and you'll ask questions. You'll say, well, okay, what's important? If you could have this, would it be more important than having that? What sort of surface do you want? Does it have to be grass? Do you want colour all year round? What shapes do you want things to be? Do you want the barbecue in the house? Do you want that to hang your washing in the garden? Do you want, where's the kitchen? How close is that to the barbecue to get food out and back? Where's the washing facilities to get out to the washing line? Do you want the washing line away from the barbecue so it doesn't get smoke on your clothes? On and on. And you make the client, your customer, think about what they really want, so that when they get it, they appreciate it more. And then they value it more, and they maybe tell their friends more, and you get more business because they tell them about what you've done for them. Really understand what the customer wants and make sure you demonstrate that in the conversation, and make sure you take enough notes so that you can demonstrate that in the quote. Now, back to the quote. Make it a letter. Something which has got no legal or semi-legal jargon in it. Don't go on all these are our terms and conditions. If you don't do this, we will do that. He's not even said he's going to buy anything yet. Heavens, be friendly. And certainly if you have to quote your own technical jargon, explain it as well. It's a common part of English which is almost designed for this. I suggest we make the grass area circular, which means that it's easier to maintain the borders, which means that is the link between feature and benefit. Customers don't buy features, they buy benefits. You don't always have to quote, which means that, because your letter will look rather odd if you keep doing that. You can do it as 2 sentences, quote the feature, quote the benefit, full stop in between. But imagine which means that between them and see if the 2 sentences then make sense. So you're explaining the feature by showing the benefit. If it does, it works. If it doesn't, don't do it. Other words you can use. You don't have to say that, which means that all the time. You could say means, must mean, is the same as, is one of the best ways to, tells you that. Any number of things like that. But only mention things which have benefits to your customer. It's about your customer's perception. The customer may not care what you've done in the past, what qualifications you have, what awards you've done. They're all useful, but they don't satisfy directly the customer's needs. I'm not saying these things aren't important, because these are the things which get you in front of the customer to start with. He's already scoped you out, make sure you are apparently competent. But they don't necessarily win you the work. They're also backup, which gives your customer peace of mind, therefore, because he's risk averse, remember, and shows he's made the right decision and there's no risk of loss. But they don't necessarily win you the work. So features and benefits throughout your quote, please. There's features and benefits that are valuable to the customer, not just things which you want to talk about. Because it's not about you. You've got to talk in the customer's terms. Use you all the time. The customer's interested in himself. He is not interested in you. So not too much about we've done this or we've done that. That's talking about you, that's the supplier, not him, the customer. And mention in order of priority what's important to the customer. You've taken the notes. You've decided in that conversation what was really important and what was less important, and you've made that note. So you can just transcribe that into the quotation without any bother. So mention in order of priority what's important to the customer and how you fulfill that. When you've done all that, later on, technical details you can do. This is the list of materials. This is the amount of time we're going to take. This is when we're going to start. This is how long we're going to take on the job, and this is when we're going to finish. And then this is how much it's going to cost. And at the end of this, how much it's going to cost, maybe you might like to talk just a little bit about the benefits that might bring. So you can talk in terms of an investment. So we could say something like, we can start the work on 1st of August, and we expect, subject to materials and weather, to complete it by 31st of August. We expect to be with you by 8:30 in the morning and finish around 4:30, which gives us time to pick up materials on the way back and order for the next day. So you're basically saying you're not bunking off early, you're going to do something which is going to expedite the completion of his work. We will leave your premises clean and tidy before we go each day, because customers care about these things. Just put yourself in his shoes. What's important to you? Do that. If there are any delays, we will tell you what they are and what we intend to do about them. So, answer the unspoken concerns that the customer's got. What the price? Our cost for this is so-and-so, plus that, payable as, deposit, stage 1, stage 2, completion. And then something like, This investment should give you many years of useful service, and you have estimated the cost savings over your existing process, whatever it is, at being X pounds a year, so this will pay for itself within Y years, or will add value to each your house of about whatever percent, whatever suits your scenario. And then finally, if you want, you can finish up in appendices with the lists of qualifications, what you've done in the past, to make sure he's making a good choice. And maybe a final paragraph. I hope this shows you how we can help you achieve your goal of, and then restate the main objectives the customer has. I will call you in a few days to check you've received this and that you fully understand it. I can answer any questions you have then, but in the meantime, if you want to talk it over, please do call me. It's sincere. But if possible, deliver it. May not be possible, but if it is possible, deliver it and go through it just to make sure that I've got this right, Mr. Customer, because I can go back and change it if I need to. Because frankly, if you're not interested, when you're trying to supply me, a new supplier coming to me, if you're not interested in getting a quote right, I'm going to worry you're going to be interested in doing the job right. So, if you possibly can, deliver it. If you can't post, then I'll have to post it or email it or something. But ring them up or get in contact with them in some way, just to go through the quote to say, did I get it right? Did we understand your needs? Is there anything else we could have done? Nothing else. Even if you don't get the job, you've got good feedback so you can improve your quotation next time. And follow up with a phone call after I've had a few days to think about it. Did you get it? Do you understand it? Do you understand your needs? Because you've still got the chance of the job that way. I hope that's helpful. When we do a workshop like this, we split into pairs and we have a little networking stroke practice session. We do a one-to-one customer and supplier, and then we just do the initial interview to try and make some notes and see what we find out and what we found out. And when we generally find out, we learn a lot about the customer. I ask always, and it's quite interesting to reflect on this now, 2 questions. I said initially in these conversations between pretend customer and pretend supplier, who does most of the talking? And what I'm looking for is around about 60% of the talking, maybe a little bit more, being done by a customer. You, the supplier, should be asking questions, not pontificating about what, because all you can really talk about is what you've done or what you might do. But you've really got to drag questions, get nice open-ended questions into the conversation so that you can get lots more information, which means the customer should be doing a little bit more of the talking. Secondly, when we do this little feedback session, I ask the other question, which is, do you like and trust one another? And if you've done the questioning properly, then you should be at the like and trust position, which means you've got a much better chance of actually getting the job. I hope that's helpful. If you need anything else, come onto the website or send us an email at office@hixons.co.uk. It's a call, and we will send you out the handout and the draft template to do quotations. Thank you very much indeed for listening.